What's up, YouTube? So this is a follow-up video. I told you this guy was my hero. That was one of my videos on this one. I knew he was my hero. He made sure he cracked this freaking guy in the jaw a couple of times before he died. We've seen these videos all too much. And unfortunately, a lot of this crap is we're becoming a little numb to it. The problem is that there's nothing being done, and people consistently are getting away with murder, and they're not even being locked up with charges. This is a pure display of power. We seen not only that these guys not get locked up, but we also seen, like in Michigan or whatever state that was, where these guys come into the Capitol with some heavy artillery. And don't get it twisted, these images are being placed around the world. This is to demonstrate their power. And, like in the state capitol, you've seen all of these guys with their guns, and as though they're going to kill the coronavirus, you know what I'm saying, with their guns. But they're yelling in their face, they're yelling in officials' faces without masks, and they're telling the people to open the country back up or whatever. This is being shown around the world. This is on Al Jazeera. This is on RT News. This is not, these are images they're showing their display of power. And the fact of the matter is that you're also seeing us, a black man, being portrayed who I am. I am a black man, black first. And you can't judge a book by its cover, but they do it all the time. And they try to use our cover and victimize it. That's the whole storyline with us. We're always the victim. We're never portrayed as the hero. Even Obama wasn't, I'm not going to go into Obama. My main factor is that we are not genuine heroes. They portray us as either the villain or the victim. That is the corniest storyline I've ever heard in my life. Your storyline literally sucks. When I look at, so what I'm trying to get at is this. You had Denzel Washington, now out of nowhere, he sounds, we're practicing social distancing here. I just did a video on Denzel, now you're hearing that they're trying to portray him as being a monster. And then you got the guy in New York getting beat down. This is all in 1 week. You got the guy in New York. You see him getting beat down during social distancing era, right? By a cop that comes out of the freaking truck looking like a hoodlum, basically. And then you got there was a couple other things. You got this young man getting hunted down with a daggone gun. And shout out to Harvey for cracking this dude in the face a couple of times. Now let me tell you something. This man right here with this gun, the only thing that he's a victim of is being a butthead and a jerk off for pulling out a gun on somebody that decided to go for a jog one day and trying to bring the law into his own hands. That's the only thing he's a victim of. He probably been sitting around the house, nothing to do, probably ain't got no girls, probably just sitting around the house, ain't got no girls, ain't got nothing to mellow him out. And the only thing that he gets his high off of is telling people like me and Arby what to do and how to do it. And on top, that's the only thing that he gets his high off. There's no love, there's no sympathy, and there's no appreciation of life. That's why he always has that gun. The only thing that he's probably thinking about, this guy, is something that has to deal with stereotypes. It probably has to deal with some kind of stereotypes, such as if it's brown, it's down. I've heard, well, that's actually a saying that hunters use. I've heard that. It's a very nasty saying, and I've heard that if it's brown, it's down. I've also have heard some nasty stereotypical ideology that'll make you think that all one race is one way, and that's not necessarily the case. We do have we do have tendencies, we do have habits, we do come from different cultures. However, we are all not the same. He would not done that if that young man looked like his son. He would have never pulled that gun on him. He pulled that gun on him because he was black, and it's because he was brought up to think those things. He has either arrested, put in jail, and in my opinion, probably have killed many people. The reason why I say that is because, and I'm only going on speculation on here, but when I seen the video, this man shot him and walked away, waited for him to fall. There was no sense of, is he going to be okay? There was no sense of nothing like that. He shot him and killed him as though his chest was just out, sticking out, as though he did the right thing, as though someone put a badge on his chest, as though he did that before. I saw the way he, after when that young man dropped, it was almost as though you would thought that he would win an Academy Award. He was able to use that gun, and another thing about using a gun like that. Here's another thing about using a gun like that. When you use a big shotgun, you know that that person with a big shotgun, you know for a fact that they are gonna die. Shotguns are made so that people die. Shotguns are made to take a big slug. That ain't no freaking little small gun. When you get hit with a shotgun, you're going down for the count. This man had nothing else to live for. His son he's already retired. He had no more action going on. He's probably kind of like the firefighter syndrome. If you heard firefighters, that after they retire, they end up, some of the firefighters, the death rate is high because they don't have any more action to do. And he probably decided to retire. He had no more action. And when he saw this young man running, he probably was tanked up full with some freaking hard liquor or something. And he said, there he goes. That's some action. You know how many times that I've been fitted as the description? Do you know how many times that I've been, cops have come to me, and if it wasn't for the grace of God, that I would have been fit in the description as well? Do you know that? I've been told many times that I fit the description of a person that stole a car radio, a robbery that is in progress right now as we speak, someone that got away, and we need to stop you and analyze this, that, and the other. This is a problem that's been going on in this country for eons. My brothers have been one of my brothers have been killed, I believe, in Georgia for the same bullcrap what these guys are doing. For all I know, this guy is the one that got one of my brothers. So, and this kind of situation to me goes dear to my heart. I heard someone say, well, these things, they do get set up like this so that we fall victim, like cause and effect, and things like that. And we're consistently moving in a pattern of cause and effect, cause and effect. We're all consistently trapped in this pattern of being the victim. And some of these things could be set up, if you will, like a stage, if you will. I heard the mother, and I usually, the way I tell, and whether or not, because I'm very aware of the staged type of events and some of the major events that has happened across America. I don't necessarily, on like Donald Trump would say, on both sides, black and white. I don't necessarily believe that all of them were totally genuine. However, in this event, because I've heard the mother speak, I heard her say her piece, I must say that this, and I always listen to the family members, because sometimes when you hear a loved one and how they speak, you'll understand what's going on. I heard the mother speak. This is genuine. This ain't no joke. And the people need to be brought to justice. There needs to be not only an investigation, but when anybody gets shot, they usually get handcuffed. I've heard the whole scenario. If this was two black brothers and they were hunting down a white guy, they would have been in, obviously they probably would have been in an electric chair by now. They would have been in hard-term prison. But because these are so good of role model citizens, this is what we get. We get a guy that is walking around. Him and his son need to go to jail. Yes, it is tragic. Yes, it's tragic to the fact that they're doing this. However, these are more than likely, they probably have done something like this before in the past. And if they haven't, they've been plotting for it for a long time. You do reap what you sow. You are your brother's keeper. That's what you're supposed to be in this judicial system. So far as the last time I checked, that we're justice. Justice lady doesn't have she's blindfolded. So far as that's what I thought. But evidently, in this particular system, it's not so. I don't necessarily, I believe that this is a perfect view for the Democrats to say, oh, take their guns. I believe that this is a perfect time for Biden to try to get the black vote now. I believe that this is a perfect time for people to get more divisive in their way of thinking. I'm not necessarily like that. The way I look at this is this. I look at this and say, it's time everybody. Now, I know I have some very, very prominent people because I've been watching y'all's channel and y'all use the same terms that I've used over the past week. I know that I have some very prominent people that have a lot of followers that are looking at this channel. Now, I'm talking about some really high profile people. I know that you're watching this channel. I beg and urge you, do your best to try to change the narrative that is being portrayed on us. And I hope that you understand what I mean, because you will see me doing this in the near future. Don't allow this disgusting, ugly narrative consistently be our downfall. You have to be one step ahead of them, and only to do that you have to know your past in order to know where you came from. I mean, in order to go where the future is. Unfortunately, we have to do our best. You have to do things that are out of the norm. That is the only way. Yeah, I know. Oh, we got to wait for Jesus to do this. We got to wait for Christ to do that. Christ is going to do this. Christ is going to do that. This is true. He is going to do things. But there is some things that you have to understand. This is the same script that's being played over and over and over again. Yeah, okay, I heard one YouTuber say, oh, well, what do black men are going to do about this? There's one thing that you can do about it. I wish I had it prepared. You can call up the judicial systems office of that particular area and tell them that you want to see these people. It's not hard. You just Google it up and you tell them that you want to see these people taken to justice. We're not in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We're in the year 2020, where all you have to do is make up a simple phone call and say, I don't agree to the fact that this happened in this area. You can call up that particular number and say that you want a complete and full and thorough investigation because this thing looks funny. That is all that you have to do. It doesn't take much. And their phones, when they ring off the hook, when they get 100 gajillion calls to the point where they have to cut the line off and start a new phone number, they're not going to be happy about that at all. Okay, and once you do that, because that also blocks them from doing the things that they would usually do because the phone is consistently ringing. Once you do that, and they get phone calls hour per hour per hour per hour, the city capital and also the city, the state, and every part. Once you do that, you say, oh, you're telling me phone calls will turn things around? Yeah, daggone straight they will, because I pay some money if you tell me that the daggone telemarketers will stop calling you if you paid $50 this much. They'll stop calling you for the rest of your life. I'll give them $50 right now, and I'd be lived so happily. You have no idea how pissed off people are for receiving consistent phone calls of the same doggone people trying to sell you the same doggone thing every single day. It's a freaking nuisance. And on top of that, they're going to get telemarketers. They're going to try to have people, electricians, all kind of people coming to them. They won't even be able to function. Why? Because their phones are flooded with the same call. You did this and we're waiting for justice. You did this and we're waiting for justice. That is what I call being proactive. Now, is it something that's done behind the scenes? Of course. You need to call it on YouTube. Jadakiss does these stupid challenges of rapping. Start doing these stupid challenges on making phone calls to the daggone Capitol. Who's going to be brave enough to do that? And you don't have to put your life at risk and say, hey, you're a butthead. All you got to do is say, hey, you know what? I didn't like what's going on. I didn't like what you did. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. And that's it. And voice your opinion. What they going to do? They're going to hunt you down because they said you didn't like something? That's it. You just say, hey, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never been in jail at one time in my life, and I just want to tell you that I want to see that these people, they get what's due, because I didn't agree with what happened in the video, and I don't agree with the fact that they were able to kill people and still walk out on the street. That's what you do when you're trying to be proactive. People need to encourage to consistently blow up their phone lines, okay? Because that's how you get things done. That's the first step. And there's more things that you can do, but that's only one. Marching is not always going to solve, because marches come and marches go because they're time limited. But phone calls, people could call all times of the day. and you're stopping everything that they're doing. So let's get on it. Do something. And this sucks. Peace.